Thank you so much for having me. Like you said, my name is Jack Manners, and I'm here to talk to you about my absolute favourite thing in the world, and hopefully something that none of you get over the next 10 minutes or maybe hour, sleep. So, I've been a sleep researcher for a little while now at Flinders University, but I've really been interested in sleep for my whole life. I mean, this was me as a baby, getting probably the best sleep I've ever gotten. This was me during my undergraduate studies, really working hard and getting some practice in sleep. And this was me last night. I think it's just getting some real lived experience of insomnia. But if you can't tell by the glasses and the fact that I'm pretty sure I'm getting sunburned from the stage lights, I'm really into technology. I really try and integrate technology into sleep research, and when I tell people this, I think people really sort of assume that I'm some giant nerd, that I play a lot of video games and I don't really have many friends, and all I really have to say to that is that it trained me very well for my job. And I really prefer single player games anyway. But I really do love using all this tech in our sleep research because it means that when people come in complaining of a sleep problem, our clinicians are great and they can tell them, what's wrong with their sleep and how to fix it. But I get to tell them really cool stuff about what the temperature of their forehead is during the night, what kind of positions they slept in, and exactly what death metal song they're snoring most resemble. I mean, that's basically Slipknot. But it does all have a point. I mean, a lot of people have problems with sleep. About 20 to 40% of the population complain of sleep problems or have an actual sleep disorder. And this is for various reasons. I mean, sometimes it's internal factors, whether it's physiology or psychology, or more external things like work schedules, maybe self-imposed distractions, or other just distractions in the house. And so the hope with trying to integrate a lot of sleep tech into this is that we can get more information about all this kind of stuff. We can hopefully get more details about people's sleep, diagnose them more quickly, treat them more quickly, and hopefully try and change it from feeling like this to hopefully feeling a little bit more like this. And so the people at our lab work on a number of different sleep disorders across various different age groups, but I have a really particular bug to bear. It's maybe not a popular opinion, but I'm really trying to eradicate choking in the bedroom. Otherwise known as obstructive sleep apnea. So obstructive sleep apnea, or OSA, is a disorder that is characterized by repeated narrowing or full closings of your airway during sleep. It's quite a severe disorder because it deprives your brain of oxygen. It can wake you up during the night. It can make you feel bad during the day. It can affect your mood and cognition, and it can really affect relationships. It can be quite confronting for new partners, and for long-term partners, it can be really quite a struggle to come to terms with the consequences of murdering a loved one. And so, on top of all of this though, to try and start your sort of clinical journey in dealing with sleep apnea, actually getting diagnosed with sleep apnea is quite difficult. It can be a slow process, it can be expensive, and it often ends in a study in a lab where we put a lot of wires on you and then ask you to sleep normally. So I guess the idea with tech then is that we're trying to make this a little bit more simple, more clean, more efficient. And we're doing that with a number of different things. And so it's stuff like wrist or finger monitors to try and measure maybe blood oxygen during the night. Maybe something on your forehead to measure your brain waves. Maybe a position sensor or some pills to measure your core temperature during the night. We might also chuck a sensor under your mattress, put a radar in your room to measure movement, a microphone above your bed to measure snoring, and it only requires maybe 2 to 15 apps. As well as a daily check-in with your doctor, and maybe then we can diagnose you, but in all actuality, something will probably fail, so we'll do a regular sleep study anyway. I guess we're working on it. And then the flip side of that is treatment. Because I mean, diagnosis is great, but we need somewhere to go from there. So the main treatment for obstructive sleep apnea is CPAP, or continuous positive airway pressure. And so for those who don't know, it is essentially a machine that blasts air into your airways, forcing them open and helping you to breathe throughout the night. And it works really well. It is very, very effective. But by that, I really mean that in about 50% of people, they try it, they feel incredible, and they're effectively resolved. But for the other 50% of people, they find it uncomfortable, they find it claustrophobic, or they bring a date home for the first night and reconsider. But thankfully there's lots of alternatives. So as well as CPAP, we have things like exercise and weight loss. We've got dental devices that will move your jaw forward to try and open up your airway, as well as surgery that will open up your airway. Really simple devices that will try and keep you off your back, literally a tennis ball, as well as even like smart AI pillows that will inflate and try and move your head based on snoring noises over them. These exist, apparently they do work. I'm not quite sure yet I'm ready to trust AI with my sleep. And so this is all great, there's plenty of options, but I guess the problem is that these all take time, they all take money, and some are quite extreme. Things like surgery, that's extreme. Some even more extreme, like actually sticking to your New Year's resolution. And so the hope then is that with all the kind of tech we use, we can get a little bit more information about your sleep and try and better target treatment towards you. So we might try and look at things like what position are you sleeping during the night and how does it affect your breathing? We might look at how long your breathing actually stops for during the night, and maybe that means you're more of a candidate for surgery. We might also look at how your disease severity changes over time and whether that implies any sort of behavioural changes might be in order. So take this example. This is a person over roughly a year with a marker of disease severity effectively. And we can see that it goes up and down over time. And it begs the question, is this person have they tried CPAP maybe here? And it worked, it improved their disorder, but then they couldn't tolerate it and they took it off and it went back up, and then they tried it again and again and again and so on. Or were they wearing it the whole time and there's some other reason that their disease is getting worse?
I like that.
Thank you. Obviously that's two pretty different conversations with your doctor. So then lastly, the main thing we're trying to do to try and resolve this as well is try and increase the public awareness of some of these sleep problems and increase people's ability to deal with them. So to try and do this, we really brought this tech to some of the biggest, brightest minds of the country. So this was an actual televised program. It's on SBS, you can ask me later if you need, but we actually brought a bunch of this tech to a few politicians to try and measure their sleep throughout a parliament sitting during the week. And this is fascinating, because I don't know about you, but I've definitely sometimes watched a politician like Barnaby Joyce up on TV, and I look at the things he's saying and I think, how do you sleep at night? And it turns out, really not well. Which is hilarious. But I mean, it's also a problem, because these are the people making decisions for our country. And it kind of begs this question: if even these people aren't aware of that their sleep is disorder, their sleep is problematic, a few weren't aware of a sleep disorder that they had, including OSA, and these are people that are making decisions for our country, and their decision making is impaired. That's problematic, and maybe if we had a little bit more awareness, it was a little bit easier to get treated, a little bit more easy to get diagnosed, then finally we just would have CPAP and we'd be fine. So I don't want to be dramatic, but really I think our research is probably going to change the world. I think everyone's going to sleep well, they're going to feel rested, happy, relaxed, all relationship problems are going to be solved, done, and pretty much from there, world peace is just right. So thank you very much, guys.